Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video I have another Christmas set of nails to share with you all. It's another acrylic design set. Like I said, I've got a few videos of Christmas sets that I'm trying to get up on my channel ASAP, so I'm trying to get one uploaded every day just so they're all up before Christmas. I'm working on my Glamerliz practice hand. I do have a discount code for Glamerliz, which is always in my description box below, so do check that out if you're looking to purchase a silicone hand. I have already applied tips and a clear base, and this is what I would do if I was working on myself. I always like to have a clear base of acrylic down before I come in and do any design work. But I'm jumping straight in here with the design, and I'm using CJP Obsession. This is such a gorgeous core powder from them. I'm absolutely loving it. And I'm going to be doing some colour blocking on this nail. So I've placed my bead of acrylic down at the cuticle area, and then I'm walking it down towards the nail and just sloping it off to one side. I'm trying to get the shape of this segment of acrylic as best as I can with my brush. So I'm really taking my time to mold the acrylic to how I want it to be. And I'm trying to just get a lot of the work done with my brush. So when it comes to filing, I've just simply got to crisp up that acrylic. Now that I have got the rough shape that I want for the first segment, I'm just coming in with another small bead just to build this up so it's slightly thicker, just because this now doesn't have to be encapsulated. So I'm building up all of my apex and my strength and structure. And then I do think I come in with another small bead here just at the wall of acrylic, just so that it's slightly higher so that I can still file it crisp and then push my next colour up against it. And then I will leave this to set, and I don't really jump back to this now until towards the end of the video. So let's jump on to the pointer finger. Now the tip of the pointer finger, I wanted it to have that frosted milky effect. So I'm coming in with CJP All Natural and just applying a really thin layer of this. This is kind of like a clear with just a hint of white to it. And I love the effect that it gives off, especially in winter nails. So I'm just applying that down at the tip area because I'm going to be fading some glitter from the cuticle up. And I've only applied a thin layer of that because I will be encapsulating this whole nail due to adding the glitter. So I'm coming in with this gorgeous glitter mix. This is Footprints in the Snow from Charlie's Nail Art. And it is quite a chunky mix. It's got quite a few chunky snowflakes in there. And I picked up quite a lot of glitter here. So I'm just keeping my brush wet with monomer and moving those chunkier pieces of glitter around. It's a little hard to see them here because they're iridescent snowflakes, but they really pop once they are encapsulated and top coated, and they just really catch the light and look absolutely beautiful. Now, if I was doing this nail again, the only thing I think I would have done differently is popped a nude colour underneath at the nail bed area, just so it disguises where the free edge finishes and the tip begins. Because where the glitter is a bit of an iridescent mix and it's quite a chunky mix, I did feel as though at the end you could sort of see a little bit of that natural nail line through the design. So if you was going to recreate this set, I would just recommend popping a nude layer underneath. I'm then going to leave that glitter to set in place before I do anything more to that nail. So I'm jumping to the ring finger and I'm popping down a really thin layer of Obsession. I don't want this to be too thick because I'm going to be adding some stickers and then encapsulating those. So I'm just popping this down for the colour. And I love this colour. It's quickly becoming my new favourite CJP cork powder. It's really lovely to work with as well. You can work with it slightly wetter for ombres, but if you want to build up the coverage, you can work that a little bit drier, and there's a lot of pigmentation there as well. So I'm just building up this colour. I was working in quite small beads of acrylic, to be honest. It's really cold, as I've said in previous videos. It's really cold in the room that I'm working in, especially if I haven't been in there all day because I leave the heating off in there, and I just find that my acrylic's that little bit more runny, especially where the weather's cold as well. So I was just working in small beads. Once it heats up a little bit in there, the acrylic is a little bit easier to work with. And I want the Obsession to set before I apply my stickers. So whilst I'm waiting for that to set, I'm going to move on to the little finger and I'm going to be doing an ombre. So I'm coming in first of all with CJP Beach Walk, and I'm just applying this down at the tip. So I place my bead down, blending out the back of it, and then I'm just pulling that colour down towards the tip, just keeping it all nice and smooth and even. And I'm trying not to add too much bulk or thickness with this layer, just because sometimes with an ombre I feel that I might need to come in with a little bit more, so I like to keep my layers thin to begin with. This is another colour from CJP that's absolutely gorgeous to work with as well. Now I did wait a couple of minutes off camera for the beach walk to set before I come in with Obsession. Then I'm just placing that Obsession right down at the cuticle area and working slightly wet with it so it makes the ombre a little bit easier to blend. And then I'm just pulling that down over the beach walk, and it actually created a really easy ombre. These two colours work very well together. I think maybe it's just the Obsession actually. Obsession seems like a colour that's really easy for doing baby boomers and ombres with, just because if you work with it slightly medium to wet, it has got that little bit of transparency to it, so it blends lovely. I'm then just coming in with another small bead at the cuticle area just to build up the coverage there a little bit. And then I'm fading that down, trying to keep it nice and neat and off of any of the skin. Or obviously it's silicone, but what would be the skin. And then just using my wet brush, I'm really fading that out at the tip so that the beach walk really pops. And then this is how our design is looking so far. And now I'm going to come in with these amazing stickers from Candy Nails UK. I've got quite a few of their water decals and stickers, but these ones have been my absolute favourite. I love them. They encapsulate absolutely beautifully in acrylic as well, which is fab, because sometimes it can be a little bit trickier with water decals, but their stickers encapsulate perfectly. You simply pop them down and encapsulate like you would glitter and things like that. So to begin with, I'm just sticking this one down. Now, although it is quite long, it's not really long enough for the length of nails that I'm doing, but I knew I could finish it off with another bow at the bottom. So to begin with, I'm just sticking this one down. I'm trying my best not to touch the sticky side with my gloves. I'm trying to use my tweezers for that. But then once I have got it down on the nail, I've just give it a good rub to it so that it adheres to the nail. And then I'm just going to trim off any excess. You don't want to have any of the sticker overlapping your nail. If anything, you want it to be slightly shorter from your sidewalls so that when it comes to encapsulating, it fully encapsulates that sticker in place. So this is the next bow that I'm going to come in. I'm just going to add this down at the bottom section of the nail. And I think it worked quite well. I thought it looked really pretty. This was my favourite nail in the set. And then I'm just trimming that sticker once again so it fits nice and snug to the nail. I did have a little bit of trouble further along in the video when it comes to encapsulating this. A little bit at the top come unstuck a little bit, but I will show you how I rectified that when it comes to it. But I'm just making sure it's stuck down as best as I can. It can be a little bit tricky when you've built a little bit of an apex because the nail isn't flat, so you're working over the curved surface of the acrylic. But I'm coming in now and encapsulating with my CJP crystal glass, so I'm working slightly wetter with my acrylic, just placing it down and making sure it floats nicely over that sticker, and just make sure it gets in and around all the grooves because they are that little bit thicker due to the type of sticker that they are. They're quite shiny and things like that. So I'm just working my way up the nail, and usually if I'm encapsulating anything like this, I'll kind of do a thin layer and then just add more acrylic if it's needed. So this is where I had a little bit of a problem with my bow, just not sticking at the top. Now sometimes these things just happen and there's always usually a way to rectify it and fix it. So what I'm doing is just coming in with some nail glue, I pop that underneath the bow, and then I'm using my tweezers just to stick it down, and it literally took a couple of seconds to fix, and then it just meant I could encapsulate it a hell of a lot easier without having to worry about the bow pinging up through my acrylic or me filing into it because it hadn't laid flat. So I just allowed that glue a couple of seconds to dry, and then I'm going to come in and just encapsulate around that cuticle area. So I place my bead down, being really careful not to get any on the cuticle. I'm tilting the finger downwards so that that product flows away from the cuticle, and then I've fully encapsulated the sticker. Now I did feel as though I'd worked a little too thin, so I just come in and build up that structure a little bit more. I don't like to overbuild my acrylic nails and then have loads of filing to do at the end, but at the same time, when you are working with nail art this encapsulated, you do need to make sure that you've got enough thickness with your encapsulation layer that you're able to file your nail and contour it with your file without filing into the sticker. So that's why I was just making sure that there's enough thickness of acrylic there to allow me to file the nails correctly. And then I also wanted to add one of the little snowflakes from this pack. I wasn't going to, this wasn't the plan, but I really liked how this turned out, adding this over that frosted all natural acrylic. So I'm just placing that down slightly off center so that the snowflake's just more towards one side. Just pressing it down so it holds into place, and then I'm going to trim off the excess. Once again, making sure that it's ever so slightly in from the side wall. Just giving that a good press so it adheres down nicely, and then I'm going to come in and encapsulate this nail. So I've placed my bead of acrylic down, blended out the back of the bead, and then I'm just walking that down towards the free edge, making sure to fully encapsulate that snowflake. Now again, this layer of encapsulation doesn't need to be too thick. I've already got my clear layer of acrylic, then my layer of all natural. So this encapsulation layer, although I'm building up some of the strength and structure with it, I have already got my clear base. So you've got some structure already built up, if that makes sense, or you've already got a platform built up that you're working on top of. So just keep your layers thin and focus a lot of your products in the apex area and down the spine and barrel of the nail, and then you'll find that you're building up your strength and structure without ending up with a too bulky nail at the end. So I placed my cuticle bead down, walked that down towards the free edge, and then I do just come in with another bead of acrylic up at that apex area because the apex was quite thin for the length of the nails. If your nails are longer, you don't need a whacking great big apex, but you do need to make sure that there's enough product there that as the nail grows out, it's going to be balanced correctly and you're going to minimize any breakages and things like that. So moving back to that colour block now that we was working on right at the start of the video, that section of acrylic has obviously set now. So I've come in and just filed it. It only needed a really little bit of filing because I'd done a lot of the work with my brush, but I've just filed it so it looks nice and crisp. And then I'm going to come in with the beach walk for the next section. So I'm applying this down, I'm pushing it right up against that obsession, taking it right down into the corner. Originally I was going to do just a thin line, but I decided I wanted it to be a little bit thicker. So I blended that out and then come in with another bead of acrylic and just applied that exactly the same. I'm just walking it from side to side and then blending it back. It doesn't matter if our beach walk goes over the obsession because once we file it, it will remove all of that excess acrylic anyway. But I do like to try and work as neat as I can just because I hate the finish filing. So if I apply my products as neat as I possibly can, then I'm going to have less filing to do. But a lot of it does come with practice, and the more you do nails, the more you pick up ways that work best for you. So I'm just patting and pressing this acrylic into place and then using the side of my brush to neaten up the edge. And as you can see, when I'm pushing up against that acrylic, it's building up that wall ready for our next colour to push up against. And I'm working the same as when I done the obsession. So I'm trying to do as much work as I can with my brush, but then I did file it off camera just to crisp it up again. And I also started filing the other nails whilst I was waiting for the beach walk to set. So right at the very tip of the nail, I'm going to be coming in with some glitter. This gorgeous glitter is from Smileys glitter store. I think it's called Red Diamond Cluster or something, but it's basically a multi-cut mix with some stars and diamonds in there as well. So I just thought adding a bit of red glitter helped tie in the red stickers and just really bring all of the set together. So I've picked up that glitter with a small bead of my CJP crystal glass, just placed it down into that empty section of the nail, and then I'm going to come over the top and encapsulate that. So I'm making sure to push my crystal glass acrylic right up against that beach walk, again overlapping it slightly so that I know there's no gaps and the nail has been fully built up. And then just encapsulating the very tip of the nail as well to make sure that all of that glitter is encapsulated. And I absolutely loved how these nails turned out. If anything, they were just really fun to do. I didn't have a design in mind. I just knew that I wanted to use that pack of stickers. So I just winged it as I went along. But I really enjoyed doing these, and they're definitely a set of nails that I would wear on myself. They're just my kind of nails and the kind of designs that I like doing. Acrylic design sets are definitely my favourite thing to do when it comes to nails. So I did do all of the finished filing off camera, scrubbed away all of the dust, and here I'm just wiping over the nails with some alcohol just to make sure that they are fully clean before top coating. And now it's time to come in and top coat the nails. One of my favourite things when I do an acrylic design set is coming in and top coating it, because you do all of that filing and they look matte and rough, and then you just come in and apply your top coat and it brings everything to life, especially when you've encapsulated glitters and stickers like I have here. Now, the only problem I had was, I've never had this problem in my CJP top coats before, but I noticed today it was separating and pitting a little bit. So I'm not sure if it's because of the alcohol that I used to wipe over them. They were just those alcohol pads that you get. So I think maybe I either didn't leave them long enough to dry, or maybe it didn't react well with the top coat. But you might notice it in the video a little bit that the top coat is separating, so I'm just having to go over them a couple of times to rectify that. But I'm just applying a nice thin layer of top coat. You don't want to apply your gel products too thickly. I'm just making sure to get right up and around that cuticle area and around those side walls as well. And whilst I'm finished up top coating, I thought I'd just take a moment to check in with you all and say that I hope you're all doing okay. I know a lot of us have had the tier 4 restrictions announced. I'm in a tier 4 area, and it absolutely sucks to have Christmas plans changed and things like that, also very last minute. But I hope that you are all coping okay, and I hope that 2021 is a lot better than 2020 has been. I know a lot of us have had difficulties, myself especially. This has been one year that I can't wait to see the back of. But I do hope that you're all coping okay, and I hope that you all have a lovely Christmas. More importantly, I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Jumping back to the nails, I'm just popping down some crystals in my uncured top coat. So I will cure these and it will set the crystals in place. I did it this way just because I'm working on my Glamerliz. If I was doing these on myself, I probably would glue them on and then top coat around them. But I then popped them into cure for 60 seconds, and this is the finished result. I really hope you all enjoyed watching. If you did, then please don't forget to like and comment. If you're not already subscribed, I would absolutely love it if you did. And I shall hopefully see you all very soon in my next video. Take care, lots of love, bye bye.